right, so around about 10 chin tucks, just a couple more. Remember, you don't want to do big chin tucks that mean that your sternocleidomastoid muscles turn on. They just want to be little ones. You'll feel a little bit of movement at the back of the head. Okay, let's come down to your feet and let's just move them to the, if you're on a mat, the width of your mat. If you're just on the floor, you probably want to take them out so they're about a foot past your hip width, and you're just going to take your knee towards the floor. So we're doing just some internal, external rotation in your hip. Just let your pelvis lift. So we're taking a little bit more care of our hips as we get older because they're actually really, really important. They're actually, your hip joint is actually quite nicely put together, not like some of the other joints, but they can get stiff. And if our hips get stiff, then we tend to overuse our lower back. So let's do a couple more each side. And you're not pushing into anything that hurts, ladies. You're just going where it feels comfortable. All right, let's bring those feet back in. All right, and find your neutral back position. Okay, we're just going to go to a bent knee fall out. So the knee's coming out to the side, somewhere between 1 and 2 o'clock. Then out to the other side, somewhere between 10 and 11. Try and keep your heel glued to the floor. So we just want the knee to roll out. Now you're not sucking in too hard with your breath. Your ribs are relaxed. We're still doing some nice diaphragmatic breathing. So the belly should still be rising. All right, we'll do a couple more each side. All right, and let's turn into a single knee lift now. So I'm bringing right knee over right hip, slowly lowering it to the floor. Bringing the left knee over left hip. Whatever feels right. I tend to breathe out as I lift up, breathe in as I lower. We're not letting that lower back squash into the floor. And keeping your neck and shoulders relaxed. And we'll do about 10 each side. Good, okay, when we've done number 10, and I'm just guessing, we're going to add in straightening that right leg, lowering down to the floor, bending the knee, putting it back on the floor. Then go to the left, straighten it, lower it down to the floor, bring it back. So alternating those leg extensions. Again, lumbar spine staying neutral, you're breathing normally and easily. Ribs are flat still, neck's relaxed. And the feet go back on the floor, still hip width apart. All right, we'll do a couple more of these and then we'll add in your arms. So just a progression. All right, let's add in an opposite arm this time. So let's do left arm, right leg. and then bring them back. And we'll swap over. So a little bit of concentration required so that you're not dumping that foot on the floor. Good, keep going. Good, a couple more each side. Looking good, ladies. All right, so let's bring the knees in towards the chest and just do a rock and roll from side to side. All right, that should have felt pretty easy. All right, we're going to put the feet back on the floor. We're going to bring them a little bit closer to our bottom because we're going to do a bridge. So some of you have got different instructions for a bridge. So Anne, that's you. You know what to do. Lift your toes. Okay, so we're going to tilt the pelvis, squeeze the butt cheeks, push into those heels and lift up. Standard bridge, lumbar spine's happy, backs of the thighs are happy, and then coming back down. So you can either lower one vertebrae at a time or lower just as a block. The same with the lift up. So sometimes we've got to use different strategies. So you don't have to do the segmental lift or the segmental lower. All right. So sometimes people tilt and then lift, and sometimes they just lower as a unit. So I like the segmental lift personally, and the segmental lower. So have a play around, see how it feels. Sometimes you get better activation for some of you if you just do that, lift the pelvis, and some of you will do a better lift if you do the segmental or one vertebrae at a time lift. So it's all how your brain manages to turn on the bottom and keep you in that elevated position. All right, so let's do one more, however you do it. All right, and then come back down. All right, let's do a figure four stretch. So ankle on your opposite knee. You want to feel that bottom. All right, and swap it over. All right, and relax. Okay, let's grab a roller. So let's pop it in your hands over your chest. So let's little tuck on the chin. Let's just do 5 rollers going behind the head. So breathing, however it feels good for you. I tend to breathe out as I lower. Or do I breathe in as I lower? Doesn't matter. All right, so think about those. All right, when we've done 5, we're going to lift the right knee over the right hip, keep the knee still and lower, and do 5 there. So just the knee over the hip, the lumbar spine's neutral. You'll have to think about what's happening through your middle a little bit more so that you don't lose your lower back position. When you've done 5, add in the leg extensions. And that's going to give you a little bit more activation through your middle. Make sure you're breathing, make sure you're keeping your ribs flat on the floor. And when we've done 5 of those, we're going to go one step harder. So you're going to bring your right knee up next to your left knee. Now, if that's uncomfortable, your knees can come a little bit more in towards your chest. And you're just going to do 5 there. If you want, you could do more than 5. If 5 is enough, you can just put the roller down and you can just rock and roll your knees from side to side. So you have an option, because I know a couple of you could do a few more there. Right. But if 5's enough, just bring the feet back down and you can do a little bit of a roll from side to side. It's just a chance just to do slightly harder exercise there. All right. So let's put feet back on the floor. Roller up in the air. And I'm going to do left knee over left hip. So keep the knee still first of all. Take your roller behind your head. Think about your breathing. All right, then add in the leg extension. Okay, when you've done 5, bring the left knee or the right knee up to the left knee. So they're both up in the air. And at least 5. If you've got any back pain, you're going to put one foot back on the floor. But this time you might see how many you can do. So up to 10. And you're going to feel your tummy working much harder. If you've got any back pain, put one foot back. If you're finding it a little bit hard, you think you might turn on your back, bring your knees closer. That will just put your spine into a little bit more flexion. So, and that's perfect. Bring your knees closer. That's it. All right, so up to 10, but you can put one foot down to make it a little bit easier to get those last few out. All right, and then you can bring your roller down and pop it underneath your sacrum. So we're above our coccyx, below our lumbar spine. We want to bring your right knee in towards your chest. Lift, stretch the left one on the floor. So you're getting that nice hip flexor stretch. Screen is a little bit freezy today, so my internet's a bit dodgy. When it rains, sometimes the internet plays up here. I'm not sure why. All right, let's swap over and do the other side, ladies. So swap the legs over. All right, so I want you just to then hang on to the ends of your roller and bring both knees over your hips and just stretch them up in the air. So you don't want your knees totally straight. You've got to have a little bend in them. And we want to just think about that deep tummy again. And don't let your back sag on the roller. And think about your breathing as you lower one leg, then bring it back. Lower the other leg, bring it back. So, and if this doesn't feel good for your back, you can stop and just hop off. So bring your knees down, but if it's feeling okay, go with it. We're just going to do 5 each side. So what's happening is you're getting a little bit of passive extension in the back. You're also doing a little bit more opening up of your hip, for want of a better word. So you're getting some nice stretching in those hip flexors. All right, so about 5 each side, so I think maybe that's it. All right, and then bring one foot down, bring the other foot down, and again, a little bit of a bridge to lift off. All right, and bring your bottom back down. So, nasty ITB stretch. We don't always do this, but we are going to do it today. So just because ITBs can get quite tight if we're not using our glutes effectively. So we want to have the leg that we're massaging on top of the roller. Remember that foot that's in front's taking your body weight and using your shoulder blade and forearm on the floor. So nice alignment. You'll be using your core nicely in this position as well. You find those gnarly bits and you just massage across them. All right, and let's flip. All right, so onto thighs. I like combining these two massages together because they kind of complement each other. If you've got a tight ITB, it's usually affecting your hip or your knee, and that will affect your quads as well. So find the nasty bits, roll them out. You can put your toes on the floor if it's really nasty. And breathe, don't hold your breath. Lots of people hold their breath when they're doing this because it hurts. All right, flip over onto the other side. So again, that foot's in front, your forearm's supporting you on the floor. So use your shoulder blade. Okay, and relax. All right, so today, as a special treat, we're going to put it down at the shins. All right, so this is a little bit nasty. Some of you might have done this before, so I'll actually just push it back a little bit. You want to be in 4-point kneeling. All right, and I want you to just lift up and you're doing a little bit of this. So use your shoulder blades, it's kind of like a push-up. Just do as much as you can manage. Keep those knees more or less under the, yeah, you probably won't like it for very long. Nice, Lily, that's perfect. Yeah. You want to get it on your tibialis anterior. So it's that type of action. So you're doing a lot of upper body work here. You don't have to be there for very long. When you've had enough, just hop off. So, and you needed to have your knees underneath your hips a little bit more. It's kind of like 4-point kneeling. All right, let's lay down. All right, and this one we've done before, but not for a while. I did it this week with a few classes. So it's a shoulder blade exercise. We want to have your, just below your wrists on the roller, your thumbs are pointing up, your palms are facing each other, okay? And then we roll the roller, elbows stay straight, we lift up into extension. So, and just go carefully with this, you don't want to lift too high. So you want to have head between upper arms, the hands are shoulder width apart, we push down, we draw our shoulder blades down and back, and then come back. Lily, don't have to lift too high. This is all about shoulder blades though, so it's a good exercise. If you're struggling, so Val, bring the roller to just below your elbows, and then the roller rolls to your wrists. You push down on the roller as well.
So aim to stretch the arm, like the shoulder.
No, it's about shoulder blade activation.
Okay.
Yeah. So about 10. So you actually turning on a muscle called your serratus anterior, which is really important for your shoulder blade stability. Okay, so when you've done around 10 or so, just stop, and then we'll stay here and just pop your arms by your sides. All right, so forward on the floor, let's squeeze those shoulder blades together and then relax. All right, do it again. So both shoulder blades squeezing down together and then relax. All right, one more and relax. Okay, let's do single ones. So just 3 single ones, right side then left side. So remember, you're trying to relax totally in between, and you're trying to make sure that they kind of lift to the same amount, and you're aiming across to the opposite bottom. All right, when you've done 3 each side, we're going to add in the head lift. So we want to draw the shoulder blades down and back, draw your tummy in a little, tuck your chin, lift the forehead off the floor, and then relax. Totally. All right. So 5. All right. So Lily and Anne, you're going to do 10. And Val and Yvonne, you're going to do 5, and then add in the arms to go a little bit harder. So by adding in the, lifting those arms out to a right angle, you're going to draw your shoulder blades down the back, tuck your chin, and lift, and then lower. So just doing 5 of those. Good, okay, and then you can do 10 passive extensions. So, and you're going to flip over and just bring your knees in towards your chest. And you can try a couple more of those bridges that we were doing before with your toes lifting. All right. And everybody else, 10 passive extensions. Okay, and when you've done your 10 passive extensions, we're going to hop on top of the roller. So hopefully it's still nearby, hasn't run away. Put yourself on top. Now, before you hop on top and lay down, make sure you've got a band of some sort around, not the grey heavy resistance band though, something a little bit lighter, because we'll actually use it first. Good. So you want that band in your hands. I've just got a blue one, just because it's the right size. All right. So we want to just find your neutral, check your feet and knees are hip width apart. We're going to put your band in the air with your palms facing your feet, so your hands are directly over your shoulder, and just do a couple of reaches and squeezes with your shoulder blades only. So your chin's a little tucked, you're finding your protraction, retraction through your shoulder blades only, okay? Then we want to have a little bit of squeeze around the roller or retraction, and you're going to breathe in, then breathe out and pull that band down towards your chest. Good. When you're back here, breathe in, breathe out. All right, and then bring it back. All right. So let's do about 10. So when you're pulling out, your ribs should stay nice and flat. You're breathing out with, as you pull the band out. So you're getting your core muscles to really keep you quite stable on the roller. Keep your elbows straight. And when we've done 10, we're just going to bring those hands so they're above your head. So they're 180 degrees, that's it. And we want to just do a couple up here. Now, think about what your shoulder blades are doing. Don't lift your shoulders to your ears, okay? Keep them away. And it's going to be much harder. And you're just going to do 3. You're not trying to pull your hands all the way out to where they were before. Just a little bit of range. Just do 3. It's much harder above the head, and then we're going to bring that band back and drop it on the floor. Good. All right, let's go to forearms on the floor. We might try a bridge on the roller, so bring your feet a little bit closer. And if this isn't working, I'll see how you go with your toes lifting. All right, so we're going to tilt the pelvis, squeeze the butt cheeks, push into those heels and lift. All right, we're not going to stay up here a long time, but then we'll come back down. All right, so we're just going to do 5. So it's different on the roller. If you're finding that quite easy, you can go to just elbows. And you might even find that you don't need any support on the floor. So you're going to get a longitudinal massage through your thoracic spine. We might do one more. Good, all right, and relax, okay. So let's keep your hands on your tummy, so no hands on the floor. Feet can just sneak out a little bit so that they're hip width apart and they're not really close now. And we're just going to do a bent knee fall out. So you've got no hands on the floor for support, and you want to keep your heels glued to the floor, and we want to minimize the wobbles side to side. So neutral lumbar spine, neck and shoulders relax. Just see how it feels. Often we start this with your hands on the floor, so I wanted to just see what happened, get you to see what it feels like with no support on the floor. And I don't think anybody will fall off. So think about your breathing. All right, couple more. All right, slide the elbows back because we'll go to a single knee lift. And to go to a single knee lift with no arm support, well, you could try it. See how you go. But I think you're probably better for the first one to have elbows on the floor. And you want to minimize the wobbles. Don't let your lower back squash. Don't let your chin poke. And breathe. Good. Couple more. All right, so let's bring the arm up. Let's go right leg up in the air, left hand up in the air, and go straight into some extension with the arm and the leg. That's it. So opposite arm, opposite leg. I've skipped a few, but that's it. Moving the leg, moving the arm. We're going to do 10, and we're going to keep going with that arm and leg. So breathing, 10 reps. All right, and then carefully swapping over to the other side. So you want to do a nice transition so that you're not losing that nice neutral on the spine. Good, and when you've done number 10, big starfish stretch. So arms out, legs out. All right, couple of breaths here. and then bring the arms back. Let's bring the legs back. All right, let's go back to the shoulders. So let's go to your elbows being bent, and the elbows are down in line with your shoulders, okay? And so we're just doing internal, external rotation at your shoulders. So we want to have palms, elbows are going to stay where they are, and palms rotate towards the floor. That's it. And then palms come back, and they rotate to the ceiling. So your trick is to try and keep your elbows in line with your shoulders. So don't push into any pain. All right. And now one goes one way, one goes the other. So one faces the floor, one faces the ceiling. So a little bit of proprioception. It's also your brain having to move things differently, which is always a bit of a challenge. Try not to let your wrist take over. Sometimes the wrist wants to do it because this isn't something that you do every day. So it is something that you need to maintain at your shoulder, your internal, external rotation. And this is all about rotator cuffs. So your rotator cuff's doing this movement. All right, one more. Okay, and then come back. All right, let's come up and just have arms up in the air. And we're just going to do a couple of circles. So you're going to have your right hand going behind your head, turning the palm to the ceiling, and bringing the arm around, and then all the way back up. Then do the left, and bring it around. So we want to keep your neck out of it. So have a little think if the shoulder's staying in its socket or whether it creeps up to your ear. All right, and one more each side. Don't let your ribs poke up when you're doing a range of motion with your shoulders. It all looks good. All right, and we'll just do 3 with both arms going behind the head, doing those big sweeping circles, and then coming back up. If anything feels uncomfortable in the shoulder, don't push into that range. But by trying to get full range at your shoulder, you're less likely to end up with an issue. All right, and when we've done that last one, we're just going to slide off elegantly. And we'll massage over the shoulder blades. So hands behind your head, doing a rock and roll. Push into the floor with your heels so you can squeeze your bottom, have your elbows out in line with your ears. So you've got nice alignment through your ears, shoulders, hips. And again, you should be breathing. All right, and then we're going to dump the bottom on the floor, elegantly, of course. Elbows pointing forward, breathing in. Breathing out, lowering down over your roller. All right, coming back up, breathing in, breathing out. So each time when you come back up, you slide that bottom out a little. You keep those elbows pointing forward, breathe in, breathe out as you lower. Anytime we do a breath out with an expiration and we're doing some range of motion, you'll generally get a better range. All right, and then coming back. All right, let's pop your roller off to one side. So while we're here, we'll just do a windmill. So it goes nicely today that we'll just flip over and I'll do a windmill. So knees up in front of the hips. I've changed the order around a little bit, but that's all right. I sometimes don't like doing predictable things. All right, so we've just done some nice thoracic extension. So we're going to use that and maybe get a little bit more rotation. All right, so we want to reach, really get the reach going. So that's protraction and then bring the arm up and over. All right, with the next one, ladies, we're going to, once we're in that outstretched position, we're going to hold it there, breathe in, breathe out, go a little bit further. All right, bring the arm back. Let's go over onto the other side. All right, and again, knees up in front of the hips. Let's slide that top hand over the bottom one, bring it up and over. All right, with the next one, once again, when we get out that outstretched position, hold it there. Let's breathe in, breathe out, go a little bit further. And then we're going to bring that arm back and just roll onto your back. So we're going to a spinal stretch. So we want to have knees up, first of all, arms out in line with your shoulders. Slide out, I'm going to slide out my right leg. My left big toes just gently tuck underneath that right knee. And then my left knee goes towards the floor on the right hand side. So you're getting, I just got a big click in my back. It's not unusual to get a big click. You can lift the arm on the left hand side if the pec stretch is too strong. So breathe in here deeply, breathe out, and just relax and do a little bit more. All right, then we're going to slowly come back and swap it over. So we want to bend up your right knee, tuck the right big toes a little underneath the left knee, then that knee comes across to the left hand side. Again, let it go where it wants to, lift the arm if it's uncomfortable. All right, again, deep breath in, breathe out, stretch a little bit further. All right, most of the movement's coming from your lower thoracic spine. All right, and then come back. All right, good. You can just bring your knees in towards your chest again and rock and roll from side to side. All right, and we can separate the knees, so the feet are still together, and let's just do some circles there. So again, it's a bit of a hip movement, but you're also getting some flexion in the lumbar spine. So knees, and then roll the knees the other way. And then if you can do it, do one way and one the other, or both. Yeah, I can't do it. Oh, there you go. I had to think about it. And then go the other way. All right, that's actually like patting your head and patting your head and rubbing your tummy. All right, and then relax. Okay, we need to roll all the way over now onto hands and knees. All right, so hands on the shoulders, knees underneath hips, and let's just start with the cat-cow. So we want to tuck the tailbone. We want to use those hands, push up through your hands, bring your chin to your chest, and then slowly come back down. Now, you can go the other way so that you lift the head and you arch the back if you want to. So, Lily, I don't think I'd lift your head, and Anne, I don't think I'd arch your back. So, I don't necessarily like going into the arching of the back and the lifting the head. I prefer the cat. So just play around with what feels good. But when you're doing the cat, use your hands to push you up and definitely get the tailbone tuck in there. Let's do around 5. Again, use your breathing. Okay, when you've come back and done number 5, we just want to have hands, check again that hands are underneath shoulders and knees are underneath hips. And we're just going to turn the shoulder blades on here today and tuck the chin. We've done lots of shoulder blade stuff, so we'll just assume that you've got it all right. And we're going to slide your right knee out, or slide your right foot out so your right knee straightens, okay? And then let's lift the left hand out and then lift the foot a little bit. So I want you to have straight knees and feel your bottom working without losing your neutral lumbar spine. Let's put the foot down, bring the arm back in and slide the knee in. So over to your left leg, slide it out, big toe stays in contact, knee straight, lift the right arm, then lift the foot off the floor. So keep the knee straight so we're getting nice glute activation. Bring the arm back, slide the knee. All right, this time if you want, you can just lift them both out together. Or you can just go through the process that I just did, all right? So I kind of like people sometimes sliding their foot out and getting their knee straight, because a lot of people tend to not straighten their knees, so their hammies do the work instead of their glutes and then come back. So either option, sliding out, straightening the knee, then lifting, or lifting it out in one go. So don't hold it there for too long if you're feeling too wobbly. It is a really good core exercise. It works deep neck, so keep the head nice and lengthened and the chin tucked. Make sure you're breathing, and we want to maintain neutral lumbar spine. So Anne looks good with your ball on there. So it's really, really a good exercise, one of my favorites. All right, when you've done the 3, we'll turn it into a frog stretch. So if you've got the ball on the back, you just want to try and keep it on your back as you go down into the frog stretch. And then it will roll off your head if you've got nice alignment. Good. All right, let's come up from there and we'll just do a rotation. So we want to turn the palm to the ceiling and slide it on through. So we call this threading a needle. All right, and then swap it over to the other side. So I'm turning my left hand towards the ceiling and sliding it through. So you're getting a big lat stretch. So your latissimus dorsi is a huge muscle group that goes from your pelvis up to the shoulders. All right, let's flip over back onto our backs and grab a band. All right, and we'll lay down. All right, so we want to put that band around the ball of the right foot and stretch it up to the ceiling. All right, pull on the band, slide the other leg along the floor, slight bend in the knee, relax the neck and shoulders. Again, think about your breathing down into your diaphragm. And you might find a little bit more of a stretch there today, but just go where it's comfortable. All right, let's add in just some gentle foot movements back and forth. Okay, today, just for something different, let's just keep the band in your right hand, keep the elbow on the floor, take it out to the side first of all. All right, so if that's uncomfortable, bend up your other knee. All right. All right, then bring it back, swap the band into the other hand, and we're going to bring it over to the other side now. So we're going to do your ITB stretch. All right, so make sure you've got a nice stretch on the hip so you're getting it on the outside of the hip. All right, and then bend so that you're getting a glute stretch. All right, and then swap feet. All right, so again, pulling on the ends of the band till your elbows are resting on the floor. Little bend in the knee, hold the hammy stretch. All right, and then you might just sneak just a little bit more if it's there, but don't take it into too much discomfort. Forth. Neck and shoulders should be relaxed, and should be breathing in and out through your nose now, and that should be down in the diaphragm. All right, so we're going to keep both ends in the same hand, and we're going out to the side first of all. So, yep, sometimes I like to just shake it up a little bit. All right, then bring that leg back, swap the hand over, and take it over to the other side. All right, so make sure you've got a nice stretch on the hip so you're getting that ITB, getting a nice stretch. It hurts on mine. All right, let's bend the knee, draw it in so we've got a bottom stretch happening. All right, and then relax. Okay, let's take the band off. Let's come into a long sitting position. So you can push yourself up here. So all I've done, I've got one knee bent up and used my arms to push myself up. All right. Okay, so keep one leg stretched out. This other leg's gonna cross over. So I've put my left foot to the outside of my right knee, and I'm just sitting on my sit bones. So I'm still maintaining neutral, not sagging, all right? And just by pulling your knee across to your opposite shoulder, you should have a stretch in your bottom, which is what we call a piriformis stretch. And then put your elbow on your knee. Don't use your neck. So keep your shoulder down, and this other hand supports you and you rotate. All right, and don't hold your breath here. And then relax. It's not a particularly easy stretch sometimes. Let's swap to the other side. So just go where it feels okay. So pull the knee towards the opposite shoulder to get that bottom stretch first of all, and then use the elbow. So don't use your neck. I often see people lifting their shoulders to their ears. So Yvonne, I'm watching you. Yep. That's good, looks good. All right, and then relax. Okay, so let's come over onto one knee. All right, and we're just going to make sure your foot is in front of the knee. It'll mean that you've got a little bit better chance of balancing, and we want to tighten the tummy, tuck the bottom here, and we'll cross the arms over today. So one elbow on top of the other, grab hold of your hands, keep your shoulders down, lift your elbows up, chin tucked, and then relax. All right, let's swap it over. All right, tighten the tummy, tuck the bottom, and if you can remember, elbow on top of each other, shoulders down, lift the elbows up. All right, and relax. Okay, come all the way up into standing. All right, so let's do a quad stretch. So in standing, foot to the bottom. That's it. See if you can let go. Keep some weight into your heels. Good. And then to the other side. Back your neck and shoulders as well. All right, and relax. You can just link your fingers and just turn them. So I've just gone from here, linked my fingers, turn them over, draw your shoulder blades down and back, and lift the arms out in front. All right, that's what it looks like from the side. And then tuck your chin in towards your chest. So we're just doing a flexor stretch, and we're stretching through the neck and shoulders. All right, and then come back. And then bring them behind you. Same thing, so link them behind you, turn them over, okay? Pull down and back, and again, drop your chin towards your chest. You can breathe in, breathe out, and then lift a lid tool, okay? So you're gonna get a pec stretch and a stretch in those fingers and wrists and forearms, and relax. All right, let's just grab your little ball, just do some neck stretches. So fire it on your ball, on the wall. Make sure you're close. You need to be within about that much distance of your wall, okay? So in on your wall, doing those little head nods, chin to your chest, come back up. About 5, and then do rotation. So when you do your rotations, just keep your chin level, and you're not in a hurry to do them. It's really nice, gentle range of motion. Between 3 and 5 each side. All right, and when you're done, just come back and we'll just a nice breathing to finish off with. All right, so feet are hip width apart. We're going to breathe in, bring those arms up, and then breathe out. Good, and relax. Okay, breathing in, and breathe out. All right, some big circles, and back the other way. Good. All right, and we're finished.
Thanks,
Well done,
Fiona.
ladies. I think the internet connection is pretty awful today.
Thank you, Fiona. Have a lovely weekend.
All right.